Hellmaster EX. This award-winning system features the first single-engine joystick with digital electric steering and new autopilot capability. See Hellmaster EX in action at a Yamaha Outboard dealer or visit YamahaOutboards.com.
Hey, on this week's video, we're coming to you from the top of the Orient Point Ferry on the way back from a tuna trip in Rhode Island. We'll have the details for you. We have an open boat special. We have another iCAST video preview for you. We have reports from around the island and much more. Stay tuned.
The Fishing News is sponsored by these fine partners.
Today's August 15th, and the latest edition of the digital magazine is out now. Got a bunch of columns for you. We're going to go over them with you. First up is the surf column. It's all about being a humble student of the game, about your progress as a surfcaster. Then for the inshore column, it's about the head boat diamond jigging basics. And for freshwater, we have beating summer cold fronts. It's starting to get a little chilly at night, so you might want to read this one if you are a freshwater fisherman. And we have one more. It's from the galley. Ling tacos. There's a lot of ling on the wrecks. Check this one out if you're catching them.
August 24th and 25th on Long Island Sound. WICC Surfside Hotel greatest bluefish tournament on earth. $25,000 for the heaviest catch, plus additional prizes equaling $40,000. Sign up now at bluefishtournament.com.
Down in iCAST, I had the opportunity to talk to the folks from American Baitworks. I fish with the baits as well. They're pretty good. They work for Fluke, and they're scented. Sit, see what they have to say. We're here at the American Baitworks booth, and more specifically, we're at the bait fuel display that they have. Some of you may have already been using this product back in the Northeast, because I have, and it works great on the Fluke, especially the curly tail grubs that they have. Drop it down, and it puts out a scent trail, and we all know Fluke love that scent trail, and they do love soft plastic grubs. They also have some other stuff as well on their bait fuel lineup. Garrett Thompson from Bait Fuel, he's going to go through what they have to offer on this lineup of soft plastics. Garrett, what do you got for us?
Yeah, so we have the freshwater bait fuel, and that's been proven, and everybody loves it. So we wanted to break into the saltwater market, and so we decided to launch, a couple of different soft plastics under the bait fuel line. And all of these plastics are supercharged with our saltwater bait fuel formula. So right here, this is our saltwater bait fuel. It's the 65. Our freshwater version is the 55. So this was actually tested in a lab on redfish, just like our freshwater was tested in a lab on largemouth bass. So just to go through a couple of the different shapes we got here, we got your little fluke style bait, your little twitch bait, put it on a light jig head, catch anything with that. We got a 3-inch paddle tail, all sorts of saltwater colors. And then a real popular one is our shrimp. We also have multiple sizes of grubs, glow in the dark, 5-inch, 6-inch, and we have a pretty good selection of different sizes and colors of saltwater baits here. And along with our saltwater bait fuel, we also have the hard bait stick. You can put this on your big plugs, top waters, all that good stuff. And we also have the saltwater bait fuel injector, so you can inject these plastics with more bait fuel to have that slower saltwater bait fuel dispersion, and you can inject this into any other plastic that you want.
That's awesome, Gary. And while this was tested on redfish initially, I know for sure this stuff works on stripers, because I already used it and it caught stripers, fluke, weakfish on it, and it works great. Especially these curly tails for the fluke, summer flounder up where I am. Awesome bait. This stuff is all available to the public right now, I believe. Is that correct?
Yep, you can get it at AmericanBaitworks.com, Tackle Warehouse.
Yeah, or your local tackle shop even. That's awesome, man. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
For nearly 90 years, the Viking fleet from Montauk has been putting anglers on the fish. Whether you jump on a half-day trip, fish the deep for an overnight adventure targeting big game, a day trip to Block, or a sunset cruise, their experienced captains and crew have you covered. VikingFleet.com.
On this week's episode of Open Boat with Jenni Ackerman, we have another Q&A. A lot more questions coming. Jenni.
Hey everyone, we're back with the fireplace in the background, so you already know your burning questions are going to be answered now. So this is part 2, and we're going to start off with a question from Rob Brown 22261, and Rob has a question about weak fish on the island. Were there more weak fish in this spring's reports than usual, and do you think they're making a comeback? My favorite word is comeback in fishing industry. Fish are making a comeback, they're thriving, populations are going up. Wouldn't you like to see that for a majority of the species that you target? Recently, we've seen a lot of weak fish being caught throughout New Jersey and New York, especially in the bays, all across the region. Estuaries, bays, the rivers, the canals, everything. Lots of anglers reported fish between 6 to 12 pounds being caught, and I even had a run-in with some weak fish that I don't want to remember this story because it's traumatizing, because I've never successfully landed a weak fish the spots I've been fishing because it's a little tricky. But there have been some weak fish around, and if I close my eyes, I can see the weak fish that, you know, they get the name weak fish so that they got weak jaws. I can see the weak fish that it's hooked, popped out of its mouth just as I was about to flip it. But I don't want to think about that. I do want to think about how the fact that they're becoming more, you know, more as a bycatch. There's more around, which is great. And the one big thing where, like for Rob, he wants the species to come back. A big thing that you want to make it like your mantra is be the change that you want to see. That's my favorite quote. Be the change that you want to see. If you want to see a certain species bounce back, advocate for them. So what does that mean for like the weak fish or other species? It means that you have to conserve wildlife. You can donate to these foundations that protect the areas that these fish spawn in or they thrive in, like the estuaries and the back bays and everything like that. You can teach others about the species, like tell your local fishing buddies about them and talk about how the population is practically killed off and how it's somewhat making a comeback, more noticeable fish being caught. Like, hey, this is the start of something good, let's keep it happening. What are we doing now that is making the population bounce back, and let's keep doing it so they really bounce back. And a big thing, even like better yet, if you can get your hands on them, which you can through Gray Fish Tag or some of the fishing clubs, is tag the species. You can catch a weak fish, you can tag it real quick, get measurements, release it, and you can track to see where that fish goes so you know, hey, they're going back here to spawn, like this one was caught here, it traveled this far. You can see the distance that they take to live and thrive in an environment that's now theirs. So be the change that you want to see. So thank you, Rob, for that question. Now, this next one, this is in fact not me using this username, but it is a great one. Total Noob Fishing 1753. And Total Noob asks, what are your favorite gulp collars and gulp bodies that you use when targeting fluke? So I'm very stubborn, like many other anglers. When I get a collar that works, I stick with it. So a lot of the times I'm not even using gulp. I use other manufacturers such as American Baitworks, Fish Bites, and Q8. They provide the same area rug, feet sweeping, doormat slaying colors for you anglers to use out there, and those work best for me. So when I'm fluking off the surf, I use a 4-inch pink glow or white glow bait. Sometimes I'll use the shrimp shape, I'll use a jerk shad or a mullet. It all depends on where I'm fishing to better match the bait. If I'm fishing not with a sinker, like the bucktail teaser rig, sometimes you take the bucktail off and put a sinker on. But if I'm not, I'll use either a bucktail or a naked jig head. Some work better than others with the presentation. Like on a shrimp, I would use a naked jig head compared to a bucktail because you can see that profile better. So when I fluke off the boat, I strictly use a bucktail teaser rig. And I'll use a 6-inch grub or a nemesis, depending on, you know, where I'm fishing. And if there's sea bass around, I do not want them destroying a nemesis because those are like, they're a great bait to use and they're kind of expensive. But that goes on my bottom bucktail. And on the teaser, I will use like a 5-inch grub in that same pink glow or white glow colors. Sometimes I get to the point where like I'm legit at the bottom of the barrel, like I have no more gulp left in my container, or those colors that I like to use, I'll switch to a funky color because you don't know, sometimes that finicky bite, like will turn off and they'll be crushing it on that one color that no one uses, that you happen to have left over from a trip from 3 years ago that you bought because you thought it was pretty. Like, that's me. I like the glittery paint, so I'll buy it, but then I never use it. But there have been trips where I've used the leftovers and they've worked. So it's really all about, like, the more you go, the more you know. So like certain colors work in certain areas. If it's dirty water, you use chartreuse, stuff like that. If it's deeper waters, you can use glow because it glows and they see that and they're attracted to it. So that is the end of the part 2. We're gonna do one final one next week and we're gonna get right through it and your questions will be answered. So stay tuned and I'll see you guys next week.
So on Tuesday, some of the staffers from the Fisherman magazine, along with myself, got the opportunity to fish on the new NorthCoast 41.5 HT. It's a 41-foot fishing and luxury boat. Awesome boat. Got out there and hey, that Block Island tuna bite, they didn't lie about it. We didn't lie about it either because we had some tuna. But even more, Captain Connor, he was captain on that trip. He's gonna give us some tuna tips from how to catch those tuna south of Block Island. Connor, what do you got for us?
So the technique I like to use for jig and pop for these wreck size bluefin, because I have a 31 downy, so I go slow. So I don't do a whole lot of hammering around, chasing after fish. I try and find fish isolated and work them carefully. So I need context clues, to find these fish. If we don't have tons of whales, tons of life, tons of obvious signs, I can't just hammer around the ocean, when a buddy calls me. So I have to get creative. So I look for oil slicks a lot. I look for tuna chicks on the surface, shearwater birds, kind of cruising above the waves. Any signs of life above the water will give me clues of what's happening under the water. So the specific technique we like to do, I always set up at least 2, sometimes 3 dead stick rods. That's usually a Ronzi with a fast action tip. So what happens is you stick that rod right in the rod holder. Depending on the tide, you try and set it at different depths, and you just let the boat's movement kind of manipulate the movement of that jig. And that gets a lot of bites. That's almost always the best biting jig on the boat. Then while we have that, we do a couple other styles. We do some speed jigging, for fish that want to come up quick on the jig, and we do some bottom sweeping or slow up and down jigging for more of a lazier bite, or if I have older clients or guys that aren't that accustomed to jigging, they work it slow, while some more advanced guys can jig a little faster. And that kind of covers different water columns, different speeds, different techniques. I'll keep an eye on the sounder,
I'll do that.
And all the pieces kind of come together. I'll try and get some jigs up at the thermocline, wherever that is in the water column, or if we're marking fish lower, we'll try and cover where the fish are and give it our best shot throughout the whole water column. So when we hook up on the jig, on the metal jig, I say the same thing every time. Reel until you can't reel anymore. Almost to the point where you reel until the drag starts taking off. Because so many times these fish come up or they swim at the boat, and you might feel the weight, you might get tight, but we haven't set the hook yet because they're swimming up. So you just reel until you can't reel anymore. It finally gets tight, it knows it's tight. Then you can give a couple hook sets and really knock it in the back of their mouth, you know what I mean? Most important thing, reel, get tight. So the end game is a super important part of this whole process. Once the fish gets up tight, we have a little bit of line, all right? So there's all that load and force is on a much smaller diameter line now, okay? So odds of terminal failure are higher now. Odds of break-offs from chafing, hitting the boat, etc. can happen. So we got to have someone on the wheel who's good, able to spin the boat if we get near the propeller or danger zone. We have to have someone who's good on the rod, able to move around the boat if need be. And really, everyone kind of has to work together. And the final blow is the gaff. You get the gaff in the fish. Take your time. So many times I've seen people reach down, try and force something. They nick the line. They get a bad gaff in the tail. It messes the fish up and you lose the fish. Take your time. Once they're pinwheeling around the boat, we're in control. Let's get a good shot. Confidently gaff them away from the line.
Next up is Tim C. Smith with the Dreamboat and Coastal Kayak Clash update.
We had no Dreamboat entries this week. Mother Nature won out again with the passing of Debbie. The leaderboard still stands at Scott Waterman with 17, Brian Zembreski at 13, Anthony Savino tied with Brian at 13. Plenty of time to enter your fish to win that Steigercraft powered by Yamaha and other great prizes. But you must be a Fisherman subscriber to enter. We can't stress enough that those weigh-in forms must be completely filled out. Please make sure before you leave the weigh station to look over that form and make sure it's correct. For all the details and how to enter, visit thefisherman.com/contests. And now for the Kayak Clash. We had one new entry in the Kayak Clash this week, and it was Todd Trezone with a 49-inch bass. Todd is now in third place with 6 points, knocking out Mike Radzuzwinski, whose name I could never pronounce properly. So the standings look like this. Todd Trezone in third place, Bob Wagner holding second, and Justin Oser is still holding on to first place. To be part of the Coastal Kayak Clash and for your chance to win the Old Town Sportsman PDL 120, fully outfitted by YakAttack.com and other great prizes, you must be a Fisherman subscriber. For all the details and how to enter, visit thefisherman.com/contests.
All right, we've got some upcoming events, including one I want to talk a little bit more about with you guys. First up, on August 17th is the 8th annual Summer Fluke Slam. Then August 22nd, I want to go into a little detail on this one. It's a free snap jigging seminar at the Montauk Anglers Club. That's from 6:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. It's going to be snap jig originator, the guy who made the technique, he crafted it, John Padawano. Nobody knows it better than him. He's going to be there, and I'm going to be there alongside with him. He told me everything I know about the technique, and I've been using it ever since then. We'll be doing a 2-person seminar at Montauk Anglers Club. It's free to anybody, a live on-dock demo. There's also some specials available at the Gym Beach Cafe. For more information, call 631-668-3232. We hope to see you there. And then, from August 24th to the 25th is the greatest bluefish tournament on earth in the Long Island Sound again. Some great prizes up for grabs. Got to check that one out also. And also on the 24th through the 25th is the Long Island Maritime Museum Seafood Festival. For all the details and more on the events, visit thefisherman.com/events. All right, let's head over to the report map. I'll let you know what I've been hearing recently. First off, starting on the east end this week, we have the Viking fleet. They told me they had full limits of black sea bass. That's been the norm for them on a lot of trips, and they've been seeing some fluke limits as well, with some decent ones in the mix. Then, moving to my friend Savio Mizzi from Fishhooker Charters, he reported that he had a dozen bluefin tuna on a recent trip, all on jigs. He got his limit of bluefin, had a lot of fun. He said he was south of Montauk Point. And then, moving on, a little bit back to the west, Captain John from the Shinnecock Star, he reported great fluking inside Shinnecock Bay with lots of action, lots of fish, and he had this nice 8-pounder caught on a recent trip as well. Going further to the west, Captain Walter on the Fish Finder, he reported that after the wind settled down, the fluke bite picked up pretty well in the bay. He said Saturday especially, there was some rock solid action with a lot of his fairest seen keepers and shorts the whole trip, with pool fish to over 6 pounds. Also in the same area, the Laurel Lee, they had a trip where they started in the ocean. The action wasn't that good, but they did end up in the bay by the end of the day. They had some great fluke fishing inside the Fire Island Inlet. And then our good friend Joey Leggio, he sent this picture of his buddy Goro on his new to me Steiger 26-footer. He caught this 27-inch, 7.2-pound fluke. The fish ate a jig and an orange scope. And we're going to shoot out to the east end now. Actually, right where we're coming into on the Orient Ferry, Captain Rich from the Nancy Ann, he reported his charters are catching as many bluefish as they want, with boat limits of jumbo sea bass up to 5 pounds right now in the deep water. He said if you do want to have a blast with these monster blues and a boat limit of giant sea bass, now is the time to go for them. If you do have a notable catch, email me at mbroderick@thefisherman.com. I'll try and get into the magazine or the weekly video fishing forecast. Now let's check in with Captain Timothy O'Rourke from Montauk. Tim.
Thank you, Matt. Well, greetings everybody from Montauk. Weather's been really spectacular the last week, and everybody's got out to do whatever they want. The big report still is the tuna fishing, close inshore, 15 to 20 miles. Everybody seems to be out there catching them when the weather's good. I have a couple nice pictures from the Elizabeth and the Double D, but basically if you want to try to catch tuna and be close to shore, now's a good time. So that's the big report. Striped bass, you know, they're starting to get out deeper into the colder water, so it's not as good of a pick as it was earlier in the summer. Still plenty of big bluefish around, and people are picking away on the fluke and sea bass. That's about it. Hopefully the false albacore should be showing up here probably another week or two, and that's going to start kicking the fall into overdrive. All right, everybody, we got a little hurricane swell coming this weekend, so be careful out there and keep that in mind when you go off the beach. Thank you, Matt.
From Northport, the Cow Harbor Baits and Tackle report.
Hey everyone, taking a break. A lot of custom rod orders coming in. Thank you very much. You know, we've got a great reputation at the shop, and just staying on top of these orders and repairs. Thank you so much for bringing them in. The fishing this week has been kind of just starting out because it's been such lousy weather. Let's be serious about things. So with these beautiful blue skies, we getting a chance out for myself doing I love porgy fishing because I'm always product testing these jigs that we've been developing. Like porgy jigs are really cool, so it's something that we bring out to everybody. You gotta check them out. The striped bass fishing, the fluke fishing, the blue fishing, sea bass, porgies, and spot. That's for the most part what I'm seeing going on. Some people are out there doing the eels. So if you're doing eels and blue crabs, now's your time to get out and try it out. Grab some, chicken wings or something for those blue claws or nets. Get worms are fantastic for the eels. And the spot are all over these little clams. They're a great way, with the spot, there's no regulation. So you don't want to be, taking too many. But my point is that they're a perfect size for live lining. So you might want to try to do sabiki rig or little clams, catch some spot, go out deep, and that could be a great ticket for you to catch either an enormous fluke or even better yet, really nice size striped bass. Remember though, if you catch these big bass while we're live lining this time of the year, it's hot. So get that circle hook, get them off the line pretty quick. Keep your pictures to a minimum and revive the fish, get it back in, because these water are high 70s and they're deep for a reason. The flukin's like spotty. There's a lot of looking shorts. The shorts that we get are like fat. So I would love to see like maybe some possible regulation like we have in Connecticut and stuff where we could keep some 17 to 19 inch fluke would be just fantastic. Let's explore that in the future. Bluefish are laying low, but snappers are everywhere. Snappers are at the dock. They're in the bay. They're in the harbor. So again, snappers, if you're live lining for some of those big fluke, got to only have 3 per person. Now, I know people are like really shocked by that, but yeah, 3 per person. So you want to watch those regulations. Sea bass, for the most part, again, they look small to me, but there's a lot out there and a lot of porgies. Porgies are doing really good, and that's just like great this time of the year when it's hot and you just want to chill out in the bay or go outside or you're not really sure where to go. You can always be sure you get some porgies. Hey, listen, thank you so much for supporting our family business. It means a lot at these times because stuff is tight, and I know it is. Until next week, I bid you all peace and tight lines.
From the Fire Island area in Great South Bay, Captain Al Lorenzetti.
Hey Matt, Fire Island report. A lot of fluke around, mostly shorts. Probably 20 shorts for one keeper, but some of the keepers are big. I heard of fish, over 10 pounds, but they're extremely rare. Had a good bite of bluefish this morning, right in Fire Island Inlet, anywhere from 3 to 10 pounds on live bait. And also I hit a little spot in the ocean that I fished, had some nice keeper sea bass. And that stretch from the Sore Thumb down past Overlook Beach, lots of fluke, but did not pull a keeper out of it, but had one after the other. And it's fun. It's good action. So it looks pretty decent. Friday looks like a good day. Saturday, Sunday, a little bit tough. Talk to you next week, Matt.
Now let's get the latest from all-pro tackle and markets.
Hey, Matt. The fish report this week is hit and miss. A lot of short fluke are being caught. If you're getting keepers, they're finding them on the AB reef and out the cholera bank. That's the best report that I've been getting from there. I've actually been getting now, and I'm seeing coming to the dock here, is a tuna bite. Tuna bite seems to be about 30 to 40 miles south of the Fire Island Inlet area and the Coimbra area. I'm sure there's tuna further out, but most of the guys around here are coming, are fishing those areas. They're not running all the way out to the canyon. At All Pro, what's going on here is Saturday, there's a snapper derby. So if you have some kids, you want to have a good time, you come down to the Lindenhurst Marina. We're sponsoring it. It's a great time. It's between 9 and 12 on Saturday. A special running here for those who want to make that tuna run. We got a cool $150 tuna special. You just have to give us a heads up so we can have it ready for you, and you're all set. You need nothing else except that package. You go run and get your tuna. So back to you, Matt.
With the fly and freshwater report, Paul McCain from River Bay Outfitters.
Hello, Matt. Well, beautiful weather this week, but this really got me going. I've been really loving my kayak. I love getting out there. I do love my boat, don't get me wrong. But I heard something about just being outside and listening to the birds and the quietness of it all, without the jet skis, of course. But I was out here, and I'm doing a little fishing over in the West End area, fishing from my kayak, and I'm sitting side saddle. You can see I sit side saddle so I can fly cast. And I'm using the flounder snack. This is it, the flounder snack. It looks pretty beat up because I had a lot of fluke on it. I had mostly of them are small, but I'm up on this flat where it's very shallow, 2 to 3 feet, and I came out here just to fish for fluke with a fly rod. But there is fishing to be going on as far as the beaches. Figure at night. Just go out there at night, It's been really, well, the weather's changed a lot, but it was brutally hot. This water's pretty warm. I'm seeing a lot of bird action, but I'm not seeing a lot of fish on the surface. So hopefully I'll be out here. The tide's changed. It's now an outgoing tide. It's good. I enjoy this type of fishing. As far as the freshwater goes, well, John, they went out to Sears this week. The report was they saw many bass jumping out of the water for the dragonflies, but it was hot. And one of the problems with there is it's a gated lake. You need to get the key. And the problem is you pick it up at 8 and you have to be back by 3. Of course, at this time of year, you want to be there at sunrise and fish the sunset, but you can't do it there. So go to Bellows, that lake you can. There's plenty of lakes out here to fish, and get a kayak. You don't spend a lot of money. I think I spent $300 on this kayak, and I love it. So to next week. Tie lines, everybody.
From Huntington, we have Captain Gaige.
Thanks, Matt. What's up, everybody? Captain Gaige here reporting to you from Huntington Harbor, where I fish 7 days a week for SandCityCharter.com. Check out the website and follow the social media links from there, guys. I'm going to build up the audience, and we are about to launch our podcast called Bay Rats and Buoys. We're going to have some really salty stories from some really cool captains and a lot of fishermen, so tune in. It's going to be a lot of fun. We promise it will be a lot of fun. Fishing this week was great after the storm, so we don't like it when those storms come through, especially in the boating world, but it happens. Nothing you can do about it. Boating, the weather settled down. Sunday, me and my mate went out there first thing. We got out there first light, and the birds were working, and it was top water action. The fish was just blowing up around the boat. It was bass and blues blowing up around the boat no matter where we stopped. We didn't even have to go run and gun and chase the birds. It was just they were all over the place. So we had a blast. We just sat still and let it all come to us, and it was a lot of fun. So if you want to get out there and do that, let us know. Dennis and his son, Captain Zach, we went out this morning, and it was a slower bite, waiting for that tide to start moving. It was getting out, and the outgoing tide, the bite did turn on, so we did manage to land a beautiful 27-inch 22-pound striped bass, and it happened to be Captain Zach's first striped bass ever. So congratulations and kudos to Captain Zach for landing this beautiful striped bass. We're going to get out there tomorrow morning and tomorrow night. We're going to be doing chunking trips, and we're going to hopefully have some really cool video footage for next week to show you guys. In the meantime, check out sandcitycharter.com and follow along on social media. I'm going to build up that audience, and like I said again, the Bay Rats and Buoys, the podcast, will be launched this month, so stay tuned, and we'll keep you posted and get those links out to you. And wishing everybody bent rods, tight lines, and I'll see you out on the water. Back to you, Matt.
From the Western Sound, we have Nuno Decosta from Tyalurs Tackle. Up and ride.
Thanks, guys. Tyler from Tyalurs here. Local action has been solid. Bluefish, hit or miss. Porgy fishing remains good. A lot of local guys here doing well with the porgy fishing, which is a great sign. Striped bass on bunker is very good right now, and fluke fishing is decent. Offshore is where it's at right now. Loads of bluefin 10 to 20 miles offshore around Montauk and New Jersey, and the canyon remains the same with big eyes and yellowfin. Open every day, 7 to 7, offshore and inshore bait available, and all your lures you could need. Come check us out, Tyalurs Tackle, 180 Theater Front Avenue, Rye, New York.
There's plenty of action out there right now. We got cobia on the west end, a hot tuna bite on the east end. It's within striking distance for those smaller boats as well. And as well as that, we have some great South Shore fluking going on in all the bays. A lot of action going on, a lot of opportunities out there. We have a great week ahead of us weather-wise. Get out there, do some fishing, and we'll see you next week.